Assalamualaikum. I am Tala Suhail. I welcome you all to Virtual University's program on Personality Psychology. Dear students, today is our lecture number 34. In this 34th lecture, we will be beginning with a new therapy, that is a new theory of personality, that is stimulus response theory. But before beginning with that, let us recap what we did in lecture number 33. And then a part of lecture number 33 was left out. We'll cover that and then begin with stimulus response theory. So dear students, in lecture number 33 we were talking about Albert Bandura's social learning theory. All social learning theorists, they are focusing on three things. Number one, the cognitive aspects, the behavioral aspects, and the environmental influences, and the combination of three is there when we try to understand behavior. Albert Bandura is a social learning theorist, and he has adopted this reciprocal determinism approach where the cognitive, behavioral, and environmental influences are taken as determinants of our personality. जनाब, बात आपसे हो रही है एल्बर्ट बंड्यूरा की सोशल लर्निंग थ्योरी की, और हमने ये कहा कि इन दिस पर्टिकुलर थ्योरी ही इज फोकसिंग नंबर वन ऑन ऑब्जर्वेशनल लर्निंग, दैट इज वी ऑब्जर्व एंड वी लर्न. The role of models. There are different models in our environment. We imitate the behavior of these models. These models include our parents, our siblings, our peers, teachers, politicians, film actors, celebrities, and even fictional characters. Children usually follow fictional models like Superman, Spider-Man, or these models, they idolize them, they dress up like them, they talk like them, they behave like them. So Albert Bandura is focusing, number one, on observational learning, number two, on models. That is, modeling in itself teaches us certain behaviors, and models are very influential. जनाब, जब हमने एल्बर्ट बंड्यूरा की थ्योरी आपसे शुरू की तो वी वेंट थ्रू द कोर कॉन्सेप्ट्स, वी वेंट थ्रू द बायोग्राफिकल स्केच, we went through the reciprocal reinforcement concept, we went through the principles of observational learning. Principles of observational learning में आपसे बात की थी attentional process, retentional processes, motivational processes, and of course we went through the production processes. उसके बाद जनाब आपसे बात रही सेल्फ सिस्टम की, और हमने ये कहा कि सेल्फ सिस्टम हैज गॉट थ्री इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट्स, जिन तीनों के ऊपर हमने फोकस किया: सेल्फ ऑब्जर्वेशन, जजमेंटल प्रोसेस एंड सेल्फ रिएक्शन. Dear students, we went through with examples of researches and examples from our own culture about the models that are there. Bandura himself has conducted a number of researches dealing with his studies on aggression. Children learn aggressive behavior by observing life models that are there in their environment. Not only do they learn by observing these life models, they also learn and from those models which they observe in movies, in animated cartoons. So we see basically that life models as well as models which children observe in films, in television dramas, in animated cartoons, they are equally effective in teaching certain behaviors. We dealt at length with Bandura, Ross and Ross studies dealing with the Bobo doll experiment. where we saw that a life model was behaving aggressively with a Bobo doll. Who observed this life model, they imitated similar set of behaviors. So we learn by observing. जनाब उसके बाद अभी हमें बात करनी थी एप्लीकेशंस ऑफ थेरेपी, बात आपसे होनी थी रिसर्च की और समरी की. सो लेट अस गो थ्रू दीज थिंग्स and then we can begin with a new theory of personality. Applications to therapy. Number 1, Bandura is committed to the view that techniques based on learning theory can be highly effective in modifying undesirable behavior. In fact, Bandura's first book, Principles of Behavior Modification, 1969, is almost exclusively devoted to a discussion of such techniques, including several novel methods he and his associates have developed for eliminating unrealistic fear reactions. Number 2, observational learning assumes not only that emotional responses can be acquired, learned by both direct and vicarious experience with traumatic events, but also that under proper circumstances they can be both directly and vicariously extinguished or unlearned as well. Dear students, we are talking to you about applications to therapy of Albert Bandura's theory. सबसे पहली चीज जो हमें याद रहेगी, in his first book, Principles of Behavior Modification, he is talking about that if we can learn certain behaviors by observing models, we can eliminate or modify certain fear reactions in individuals by observing a life model. तो कुछ टेक्निक्स और कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं कि अगर आप किसी मॉडल को कोई बिहेवियर परफॉर्म करते हुए देखते हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अ मॉडल इज डायरेक्टली इंटरैक्टिंग विद अ फियर्ड ऑब्जेक्ट, आपको सांप से बहुत डर लगता है और आप एक ऐसे मॉडल को देखते हैं, वन हु इज होल्डिंग अ लिविंग स्नेक, सो यू लर्न दैट इफ ही कैन डू इट, आई कैन डू इट. सो let's say fear is reduced by observing a life model handle a living snake. Number 2, there are certain emotional reactions which we learn. When we go through traumatic experiences in our life, we learn certain maladaptive behavior patterns. So we usually cling on or hang to these maladaptive behavioral patterns. According to Bandura, if we learn maladaptive behavior patterns by observing others, well, we can extinguish them, we can unlearn them as well. Number 3, numerous experiments using various modeling techniques with both children and adults have yielded highly encouraging results. A study performed by Bandura, Blanchard and Ritter in 1969, adolescents and adults suffering from a severe snake phobia were assigned to one of the 3 treatment groups. Members of desensitization group were presented with a graded series of imaginal scenes involving snakes while being deeply relaxed. In the second group, a symbolic modeling condition was used in which the subjects watched a man showing models in progressively closer interactions with a large snake, also while maintaining a relaxed state. And the third group observed a life model perform similar responses with an actual snake. After each of these interactions, these later subjects were asked to perform the same behavior as the model, initially with the model's assistance and later alone. All the subjects were asked to try to perform a graded series of tasks involving snakes both before and after the treatment, while control group subjects who were given only these 2 test series and no intervening treatment showed essentially no change in their behavior. A marked increase in approach behavior was noted in the desensitization and symbolic modeling group following treatment. The most successful technique, however, was the participant modeling, that is the one in which subjects were exposed to an actual model and given guided experience in interacting with the phobic object. Dear students, we are talking to you about using modeling in treatment of individuals. और इसमें हमने देखा there are 3 groups. One group going through observing a model in imagination, the other group going through watching an actual model, and the third group watching an actual model deal with a big large snake, and then this group is asked to interact with the live model and then to carry on the task, that is to deal with the snake, handle the snake first in the guidance of the live model and then without it. और हम ये देखते हैं कि ये जो ये थर्ड ग्रुप है इसमें सबसे ज्यादा फेयर एंजाइटी रिडक्शन आती है बिकॉज ऑफ डायरेक्ट इंटरेक्शन विद द मॉडल, direct guidance of the living model who is helping the individual how to handle the snake and how to decrease one's fear related with the feared object, that is the snake. Now, we have gone through the applications of Albert Bandura's theory to therapy. We have seen that this theory is effectively used in reducing phobias, anxiety, and aggression. So all these faulty behavior patterns can be modified by using modeling, can be modified or decreased by using observational learning. So it was Albert Bandura who propagated the use of observational learning in therapy. जनाब उसके बाद research, Albert Bandura has extensively carried on research on children and adults, and his main focus was on studying aggressive behavior patterns. That is, children learn aggressive patterns observing a live model as well as observing fictional characters in film, dramas, and in animated cartoons. So he worked extensively on aggression. और अगर आप पीछे की तरफ जाएं जब हम बायोग्राफिकल स्केच कर रहे थे तो over there we discussed with you that he got an award for his contribution on research on aggression. So his work was recognized as well. Let us go through the summary. Number 1, social learning theorists explain behavior in terms of interaction between cognitive, behavioral, and environmental determinants. Number 2, Bandura suggests most human behavior is learned by observation. In modeling, we observe the behavior of others and use the information as a guide for our own behavior. So we are talking about social learning theory where there are 3 influences: the cognitive, the behavioral, and environmental influence. Bandura is a social learning theorist. His focus is on modeling. When we observe models, we learn from them and they serve us as a guide in guiding us in different behavior patterns. Number 3, new type of reinforcement. Bandura suggests that vicarious reinforcement occurs when an individual witnesses someone else experience reinforcing or punishing consequences for a behavior, and that individual anticipates similar consequences if she or he produces the same behavior. Number 4, such observational learning or modeling is usually controlled by 4 constituent processes: attention, retention, production, and motivation. All films, television dramas, and cartoons where heroes or models behave aggressively are teaching observers to be aggressive and violent. Social learning theorists so focuses on the role of observation in learning. Dear students, we are talking to you about social learning theorists where the focus is on learning by observation, observing models, imitating or copying or mimicking those models, and trying to behave like those models. Bandura is talking about vicarious reinforcement where we observe another individual or a model performing something, and if we see that that behavior is being reinforced or rewarded, appreciated, we model that behavior, and if that behavior is being punished, we avoid it or the frequency of that behavior decreases. Dear students, that is as far as our discussion on Albert Bandura's social learning theory is concerned. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please go through the PowerPoint slides and the Word document that is available about social learning theory of Albert Bandura. Let us begin with a new theory which is very interesting. It is called stimulus response theory. जनाब, आपके साथ हमने बहुत सारी पर्सनैलिटी थेरीज अभी तक कवर की हैं. We have gone through with you this about different theories belonging to different categories. Psychoanalytic theories हमने आपके साथ की हैं, जिसमें फ्रॉयड, यूंग, एडलर, कैरन हॉनी. We have talked with you about social crisis theory, जिसमें एरिक एरिक्सन की आपने थ्योरी की. Then we have talked with you about ट्रेड थ्योरी, जिसमें कुछ ट्रेड, जिसमें ऑलपॉट और मरे की थ्योरी आपने की है. वी हैव गॉन थ्रू विद यू विद ह्यूमनिस्टिक थ्योरीज, जिसमें जनाब आपने मैस्लो की और रॉजर्स की थ्योरी की है. वी हैव इवन वेंट थ्रू विद यू विद एल्बर्ट बेंड्यूरा सोशल लर्निंग थ्योरी. जहाँ पे हम बेंड्यूरा की थ्योरी शुरू कर रहे हैं, वेल वी आर बिगिनिंग with behaviorism. We are beginning with a very important set of theories, जिसमें जनाब बात रहेगी आपसे बहुत डिटेल में. एल्बर्ट बेंड्यूरा की थ्योरी आपने कर ली. We'll be talking about Dollard and Miller's theory of personality. स्किनर की थ्योरी की आपसे बात रहेगी बहुत डिटेल में, and we'll go through them. The point over here is to make that we have covered psychoanalytic personality theories, trade theories of personality, humanistic theories including Maslow and Rogers. We have covered the social learning theory by Bandura, and today we are beginning with a very important theory, that is stimulus response theory. It belongs to the behavioristic tradition. जब हम बिहेवियरिस्टिक ट्रेडिशन की बात करते हैं तो द फोकस इज ऑन ऑब्जर्व बिहेवियर. मैं जो कुछ कर रही हूँ, जो आपको नजर आ रहा है, दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ बिहेवियर. आई एम थिंकिंग, व्हाट आर माय एटीट्यूड्स, दैट इज द कवर्ट पार्ट, अनलेस एंड अनटिल आई एक्सप्रेस देम इन वर्ड्स और वर्बली. So dear students, we are now beginning with another important theory, and that is stimulus response theory. What is a stimulus? What is a response? जनाब बात आपसे आज बड़ी डिटेल में रहेगी. स्टिमुलस से मुराद हम क्या लेते हैं और रिस्पॉन्स हम किसे कहते हैं. स्टिमुलस refers to any source of energy, heat or cold, light or darkness, sound, etc. Response refers to reaction of the organism, that is animal or human. Example, the sound of the doorbell means someone is at the door and we should attend to it. Dear students, we are talking about stimulus. Stimulus refers to any source of energy. This source of energy, it can be heat, it can be cold, it can be light, it can be darkness, it can be sound. So any energy source is referred as stimulus. The organism, that is the animal or the human being who responds to that energy source, is the response of the, or the reaction of the organism is the response. मसलन जब दरवाजे की घंटी बजी तो इसका मतलब है दैट इज अ स्टिमुलस, एंड यू मूव टुवर्ड्स द डोर, दैट समबडी इज एट द डोर. सो दैट इज सिंपल स्टिमुलस रिस्पॉन्स कनेक्शन. नाउ अ स्कूल ऑफ थॉट called behaviorism deals specifically with stimulus response situations. That is, there are stimuli and we respond to that stimuli, and it is behavioristic school of thought which deals specifically with it. Now the main contributors of this school of thought include Pavlov, Watson, Hull, Guthrie, Skinner, Dollard, Miller, बिल्कुल बेंड्यूरा भी शामिल है जी. सोशल लर्निंग थ्योरी जो आपने की है, दैट इज इंक्लूडेड इन बिहेवियरिस्टिक मॉडल. नाउ व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट स्टिमुलस रिस्पॉन्स, basically it was Dollard and Miller who put forward a theory called the stimulus response theory, and this theory is based on research and on experiments carried on animals in the laboratory. And this theory extensively explores the connection, the bond, the link that is there between stimulus and response. According to Dollard and Miller, stimulus response connection is a very crucial one, is a very important one. This connection is significant. और जब हम stimulus response की बात करते हैं, तो we are actually referring to a habit. So when I say stimulus response connection, when I'm focusing on stimulus response theory, I'm focusing on habit. So what is a habit? Habit is the key concept in theory by Dollard and Miller. A habit is a link or association between a stimulus, a cue, and a response. Learned associations or habits may be formed not only between external stimuli and overt responses, but between internal ones as well. For example, I have a habit of reading something before bedtime. Number 2, when I am tired, I drink hot milk. Number 3, I have the habit of completing my assignments in time. Dear students, we are talking to you about a crucial connection that exists between stimulus and response. Stimulus हमने कहा कि all external sources of energy, and these external sources of energy, they have an impact on the organism and the organism responds to it. अब ये जो SR कनेक्शन है, एसोसिएशन है, लिंक है, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. दिस एक्चुअली टेल्स अस अबाउट हैबिट, एंड हैबिट रिफर्स टू ए कनेक्शन बिटवीन स्टिमुलस विच इज द क्यू एंड हाउ वी रिस्पॉन्ड टू इट. मैंने बहुत सारी आपको हैबिट्स का बताया. मैंने कहा मसलन मुझे रात को सोने से पहले आदत है, पहले मैं कुछ पढ़ लूं फिर मैं सोऊंगी. इफ आई एम टायर्ड आई ड्रिंक ए हॉट कप ऑफ मिल्क. And I have a habit of completing my assignments in time. I don't delay my work. I am very much in habit of completing them in time. So there's a connection, stimulus, and my response to that, and we refer to it as a habit. ये जो आदतें हैं. Now, all our habits, they are in fact associations or connections of stimulus and response. So the stronger the connection or the link, more stable, more cemented the habit will be. To modify that habit and to change that habit would be more difficult. जहां तक तो अच्छी हैबिट्स की बात है कि हम सुबह आप जल्दी उठते हैं, आप वक्त पे अपना काम वक्त पे मुकम्मल कर लेते हैं, दैट्स एक्सीलेंट, दैट्स फैबुलस. What about faulty habits? What about that I eat a lot, I take a lot of tea? That's a faulty habit. So if the SR connection, if the association between stimulus and response is very strong, say for the last 10 years I am taking some 4 cups of tea daily, every day, so that's a very strong cemented habit within me. And to break this connection between stimulus and response, it will be needing a lot of effort, a lot of work. So जो तो अच्छी आदतें हैं जनाब आपकी और मेरी, so that is excellent, that's nothing wrong with it. But the faulty habits, they have to be modified as well. Now, Dollard and Miller are talking about SR connections. And these SR connection, S stands for stimulus, R stands for बिल्कुल response, and they refer to habits, core concepts, the structure of personality, the dynamics of personality, the development of personality, which will include innate equipment, the learning process, secondary drive and the learning process, higher mental processes, critical stages of development, the social context. Number 4, applications of the model, unconscious processes. Number 2, conflicts. Number 5, psychotherapy. Number 6, research. Number 7, summary. And number 8, evaluation. Dear students, as far as the core concepts of the theory is concerned, we'll be talking about them in detail. But before going into the core concepts, let us go through the biographical sketch of Dollard and Miller. These are two individuals. Dollard, basically a sociologist. Miller, basically an experimental psychologist. Now see, both having different backgrounds, different areas of interest, coming together, formulating a stimulus response theory. So let us go through the biographical sketch of Dollard. John Dollard was born in Malaysia on August 29, 1900. He received his MA in 1930 and PhD in 1931 in sociology from University of Chicago. From 1926 until 1929, he served as assistant to the president of the University of Chicago. In 1932, he accepted a position as assistant professor of anthropology at Yale University. In the following year, he became an assistant professor of sociology in the Institute of Human Relations. In 1935, he became a research associate in the institute, and in 1948, a research associate and professor of psychology. He became professor emeritus in 1969. Now, basically, we see over here that he did his master's, his PhD in sociology, and it is somewhere quite late that he accepted a position as associate professor of psychology, and he became professor emeritus in 1969. So his basic area of work was sociology. It was quite late that he shifted towards psychology. Neil Miller was born in Milwaukee on August 3, 1909 and received his BS from University of Washington in 1931. He received his MA from Stanford University in 1932 and his PhD in psychology from Yale University in 1935. From 1932 until 1935, he served as an assistant professor in psychology at the Institute of Human Relations, and in 1935-36, he was a social science research counselor traveling fellow. During this time, he had training in psychoanalysis at the Vienna Institute. Both had very different backgrounds, Dollard in sociology and Miller in experimental psychology, yet they joined efforts in developing a stimulus response or SR linkage or association theory. Dear students, we are talking to you about Dollard and Miller's stimulus response theory, और हमने यहाँ पे देखा कि डॉलर्ड का इंटरेस्ट जो है बेसिकली सोशियोलॉजी में था, उसकी एजुकेशन, ट्रेनिंग और टीचिंग वाज इन सोशियोलॉजी. इट वाज क्वाइट लेट इन हिज करियर दैट ही शिफ्टेड टुवर्ड्स साइकोलॉजी. दूसरी तरफ वी सी इट वाज मिलर who was working in psychology as an experimental psychologist, and he even received training in psychoanalysis from Vienna Institute. So he was initially a psychologist, but his main area was experimental psychology. Now both of them, though different varied backgrounds, they gave a very important theory called stimulus response theory. लर्निंग थ्योरी, और जब हम लर्निंग थ्योरी के ऊपर बात करते हैं और बिहेवियरिज्म के ऊपर आते हैं तो हमारे पास सबसे पहला इंडिविजुअल जो है दैट इज पेवलोव. वी आर फेमिलियर विद पेवलोव. Ivan Pavlov discovered a type of learning that became known as classical conditioning. Pavlov was able to demonstrate that by simultaneous presentation of unconditioned stimulus, that is meat powder, and a conditioned stimulus, sound of the footsteps or a bell, would elicit a response, salivation, which was originally elicited by unconditioned stimulus. This act of salivating at the sound of the footsteps or bell is called conditioned response. Dear students, we are talking to you about Ivan Pavlov, and Pavlov's work is basically with conditioning. Now, it was Pavlov who demonstrated that by simultaneous presentation of the unconditioned stimulus, meat powder, along with the conditioned stimulus, that is a bell or footsteps of the attendant who used to bring food, would elicitate, would provoke, or would bring salivation in the dog. Now, this act of salivation at the sound of the bell or at the sound of the footsteps is called the conditioned response. John Watson proposed that psychologists should study behavior using the same types of objective techniques as natural sciences. His focus was on overt behavior of individual. जनाब, सबसे पहला इन्फ्लुएंस बिहेवियरिज्म में पेवलोव का, हु डिस्कवर्ड क्लासिकल कंडीशनिंग. दूसरा इन्फ्लुएंस हमारे पास है वॉटसन का, जिसका सारा फोकस जो है वो अवर्ट बिहेवियर के ऊपर है. एंड इट वाज हिज प्रपोजल दैट साइकोलॉजी शुड ओनली फोकस ऑन अवर्ट बिहेवियर. सेकेंडली, साइकोलॉजी शुड employ all the objective techniques of research and experimentation of the natural sciences. फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायोलॉजी जो भी एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन टेक्निक्स इस्तेमाल कर रही थी, वॉटसन का ख्याल था वो साइकोलॉजी को भी इस्तेमाल करनी चाहिए. सो फर्स्ट वी सी इट वाज इनिशिएटेड द वर्क ऑफ पेवलोव व्हिच वाज द फुटिंग स्टोन ऑफ बिहेवियरिस्टिक साइकोलॉजी. फिर हमारे पास है वॉटसन की थ्योरी और प्रपोजल, फोकस ऑन अवर्ट बिहेवियर. देन वी कम अक्रॉस थॉर्नडाइक. Edward Thorndike was demonstrating the importance of reward and punishment in the learning process. Thorndike, Hull, Spence, and Guthrie focused on the learning process as involving the associative linkage between stimulus and response. Most cognitive processes are actually stimulus-response connection. Dear students, we are talking to you about the initial groundwork related to Dollard and Miller's stimulus response theory, जिसमें हमने कहा सबसे पहला जो इम्पोर्टेंट इवेंट है वो आइन पेवलोव का क्लासिकल कंडीशनिंग एक्सपेरिमेंट. देन वॉटसन्स प्रपोजल टू फोकस ऑन ऑब्जेक्टिव overt behavior of the individual using objective techniques or methods of natural sciences. Then we have got Thorndike, who's talking about reward and punishment in the learning process. उसके बाद we come across Thorndike, Hull, Spence, Guthrie, who are talking about associative linkage between stimulus and response. So जितने भी cognitive processes हैं, they are actually stimulus response connection. So all your thinking, your belief, your attitudes are actually stimulus response association or connection. Skinner rejected Hull's approach. The goal of Skinner's science is control, prediction, and interpretation of behavior. He gave the concept of operant conditioning. He proposed that organisms can learn complicated behaviors by shaping. Using these successive approximations technique, we start reinforcing a behavior that is the first towards final behavior, and then gradually reinforce successive closer approximations to the final behavior. Example, learning to drive a car. Number 2, teaching a retarded child how to feed himself. एक और important influence behavioristic psychology में, and that is of Skinner. And Skinner was of the opinion that we should reinforce behavior. And he was talking about the method of successive approximations. एक ऐसा behavior जो final behavior के करीब तरीन है, उसको reinforce किया जाए, reward दिया जाए, और जब वो इंडिविजुअल फाइनल बिहेवियर परफेक्टली परफॉर्म करे, उसके बाद सिर्फ तब उसे रिवॉर्ड किया जाए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एन इंडिविजुअल इज लर्निंग हाउ टू ड्राइव ए कार. वेल, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, हिज इनिशियल बिहेवियर, दैट इज हिज फुट एंड हैंड कंट्रोल, शुड बी रीइंफोर्स्ड. और उसके बाद जब वो बिल्कुल परफेक्ट फुट एंड हैंड कंट्रोल and connecting it with the right turn and connecting it with driving perfectly, it is only then that reinforcement or reward should be given. Now, teaching a retarded child how to feed. सबसे पहले तो उस बच्चे को मेज के पास बिठाइए, उसके बाद उसके हाथ में चमचा पकड़ाइए और फिर उसको खाना सिखाएं. Initially he is going to drop everything, but reward the child when he, even spilling the food on his clothes, is able to eat it. और उसके बाद सिर्फ उस final behavior को, where without spilling his food on the table or on his clothes, he is able to eat it. So it was Skinner who gave the method of successive approximations. और ये successive approximation का जो तरीका है, ये हमें बहुत सारी चीजें सीखने में मदद करता. What is learning? According to this theory, in the simplest, it is the study of circumstances under which a response and a stimulus, that is a cue, become connected. When learning is completed, the SR are bound together, so the appearance of stimulus, cue, evokes the response. Janab, what is learning? According to stimulus response theory, in the simplest words, a connection, a link, a association between stimulus, that is a cue, and a response is learning. So, सबसे important बात ये कि learning उस वक्त complete है जब stimulus response connection बन गया, and this connection is established, and now whenever a specific stimulus occurs, you respond to it in a similar way. Right? Whenever the doorbell rings, you attend to the door who is there on the door. So when this connection is completed, we say learning has taken place. So that is as far as SR connection is concerned. In order to learn, number one must want something, that is a drive. Number 2, notice something, cue or stimulus. Number 3, do something, that is respond to it. And number 4, get something, that is reward. Dear students, we are talking to you about what is learning. और हमने ये कहा learning से मुराद ये है कि जहाँ पे stimulus response association और connection establish हो गया, और establish होने के बाद it's there within you. Now, for each SR connection to be established, 4 things are very essential. Number 1 must want something, that is there must be a drive level, a motivation within you. से पहले कि आपके अंदर drive हो, motivation हो. Number 2, notice something, that is you attend to the cue, to the stimulus. जो स्टिमुलस, जो एक्सटर्नल फोर्स है, उसको आप अटेंड करें. यू शुड सी टू इट. नंबर 3, डू समथिंग अबाउट इट, रिस्पॉन्ड टू इट, शो अ रिएक्शन टू इट. एंड नंबर 4, गेट समथिंग, दैट इज व्हेन SR connection has been established and every time the stimulus is there, you respond to it, well, you should get a reward for that behavior. जब ये चारों चीजें अकर कर रही हैं, that is there is a drive, there is a stimulus, there is a response, there is a reward, well, we say according to Dollard and Miller that learning has taken place. It is now a established connection. It is now a habit. It is now a SR connection. For a habit to be established, the cue, stimulus, and response should occur close together, not only in space and in time, but the response should be rewarded as well. जनाब हम ये चाहते हैं कि आप के कोई भी जो बिहेवियर है, सपोज अ डिजायर्ड बिहेवियर, we want a learning of a desired behavior to take place. So if we want a learning of a desired behavior to take place, there should be a drive, there should be cue or stimulus, there should be a response, and there should be a reward. अब जनाब ये जो stimulus और response है, they should occur closer to one another in space and in time. यानी proximity भी करीब करीब और वक्त भी, that is the characteristic of space and time should be also taken into consideration. And the third important thing, जब ये connection establish हो गया, when it is there, this has to be rewarded. The structure of personality. What are the stable enduring characteristics of the person? जनाब सवाल आपके लिए ये है, what are the stable enduring characteristics of a person? According to the stimulus response theory, habits are the stable enduring characteristics of a person. Examples: I get up early. Number 2, I skip breakfast. Number 3, I always wear sober clothes. Number 4, I am always polite. These are the stable enduring characteristics related to me. तो जनाब बात ये है कि the most stable enduring characteristics of an individual is a set of habits that he possesses. और ये set of habits जो हैं ये सबसे stable और सबसे enduring होती. मसलन मैं कहती हूँ I get up, I have a habit of getting up early. I have a habit of skipping breakfast. I have a habit of wearing sober clothes. I am always very polite. Now these are very stable, enduring characteristics related to me. Make a list of the most enduring and stable characteristics related to yourself. आप क्यों नहीं ऐसा करते कि आप भी एक लिस्ट बनाइए जो कि आपके very stable and enduring characteristics से relate करे, such as you are a hardworking person, you are punctual, you are regular, so on and so forth. So make a list of a set of habits. आप अपनी एक सबसे स्टेबल एंड्योरिंग कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स की फहरिस्त बनाइए. दैट विल गिव यू एन आइडिया अबाउट what set of habits do you possess, what are the enduring characteristics of your personality. और एक और चीज आपके सामने आएगी, what are the good habits that you possess and what are the faulty habits that you possess. जहां तक तो hard working, punctual, regular, these are a set of good habits. These are a set of habits which help you in adjustment. What about a set of faulty habits? I take 4 cups of tea every day. So that is a faulty habit. I should give up taking so much tea. So when I make a list of the most stable, enduring characteristics, not only the good habits, the facilitating habits are there, a list of all those habits which are somehow creating maladjustment for me is also there. So there's an exercise for you कि आप भी आज बैठिए और अपने लिए एक लिस्ट बनाइए of the most enduring and stable characteristics related to yourself. According to Dollard and Miller, a habit, as we have seen, is a link or association between a stimulus, a cue, and a response. Learned association or habits may be formed not only between external stimuli and overt responses, but between internal ones as well. Number 2, the bulk of their theory is concerned with specifying the conditions under which habits are acquired and extinguished or replaced. Example, number 1, I get up early even when I go to bed late. Number 2, I have a habit of walking 5 kilometers daily even on hot summer days. So association between a stimulus, a cue and a response is there. Example, when I'm angry, I'm usually quiet. So association between anger and quietness as response. Now this is an internal set of connections between S and R. Dear students, we are talking to you about Dollard and Miller's structure of personality. और हमने उसमें ये कहा कि स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी में डॉलर्ड एंड मिलर के लिए जो सबसे अहम चीज है वो है SR कनेक्शन और हैबिट, एंड दे आर फोकसिंग ऑन अ सेट ऑफ हैबिट्स that are acquired by an individual because of stronger stimulus response connection. जनाब बात आपसे हो रही है इस वक्त डॉलर्ड एंड मिलर की स्टिमुलस रिस्पॉन्स थ्योरी की, जिसमें हमने अभी बात की आपसे स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी की, और स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी में डॉलर्ड और मिलर के लिए सबसे अहम चीज है हैबिट्स. सो अ हैबिट इज एक्चुअली ए कनेक्शन बिटवीन स्टिमुलस एंड रिस्पॉन्स. और हमने पहले ये कहा था कि ये स्टिमुलस और रिस्पॉन्स जो हैं दे आर अकरिंग क्लोजर टू वन अनदर इन स्पेस एंड इन टाइम. यानी सिर्फ फिजिकल प्रॉक्सिमिटी ही नहीं है, बल्कि ये एक ही वक्त में जैसे ही स्टिमुलस नजर आया वैसे ही रिस्पॉन्स उसी वक्त आएगा. सो दैट इज वेयर वी से that SR connection is there, and this SR connection is taking place closer to one another with reference to space, with reference to time. जैसे ही दरवाजे की घंटी बजी आपने जाके फौरन बाहर देखा कि कौन है. सो क्लोजर इन स्पेस एंड इन टाइम. ये नहीं कि घंटी बजी और 2 घंटे बाद आपने जाके देखा कौन है, तो दैट इज नॉट क्लोजर इन टाइम. So there won't be any SR connection. There will be a poor or no connection between stimulus and response. Dollard and Miller define the nature of motivation, and they specify in considerable detail the development and elaboration of motives. Dear students, let us talk about dynamics of personality. According to Dollard and Miller, motivation, desire, seeking something is a very important phenomena, and they have tried in detail to talk about the development and elaboration of motives. Motive basically is a force. Now when we talk about motives, there are 2 types of motives. बिल्कुल सही, primary motives or all your basic drives such as hunger, thirst, स्लीप, रेस्ट, सारे प्राइमरी मोटिव्स आ जाएंगे जो आपकी बेसिक ड्राइव्स हैं, प्राइमरी ड्राइव्स हैं. नंबर 2, सेकेंडरी ड्राइव्स और acquired drives. Now, primary motives or primary drives are there within you innately. You are born with it. You get hungry, you get thirsty, you get tired. So all of these drives are there within you. The secondary drives or all the acquired motives such as affiliation, achievement, desire to please others, desire to make others happy. So all these are acquired or secondary drives, and all these acquired drives are the ones which you develop. ये पैदाइशी तौर पे कंजेनिटली आप में मौजूद नहीं है, but you learn them. In a typical modern society, secondary drive stimulation largely replaces the original function of primary drive stimulation. Acquired drives such as anxiety, shame, and the desire to please others impel most of our actions. A mother's smile, for example, becomes a powerful acquired or secondary reward for the infant, with its repeated association with feeding, diapering, and other caretaking activities that bring pleasure or remove physical discomfort. Secondary rewards often serve by themselves to reinforce behavior. Dear students, we are talking to you about dynamics of personality और उस dynamics of personality में सबसे important चीज़ है motivation. और हमने कहा there is a set of primary motives, there is a set of secondary motives और acquired motives. Primary motives आप में मौजूद हैं by birth. Secondary motives you learn or you acquire. Now, these secondary motives or acquired motives are important. For example, a mother's smile is a secondary motive. When a mother smiles to the baby while feeding her, changing her diaper, taking care of the baby, well, it brings pleasure to the baby and it removes physical discomfort. So secondary rewards are often, they serve by themselves to reinforce certain set of behaviors. जनाब हमारा ये डिस्कशन रिलेटेड टू डायनेमिक्स ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी इज स्टिल देयर. बात आपसे अगले लेक्चर में मुकम्मल होगी, लेकिन लेट्स सी व्हाट वी हैव डन टुडे. टुडे वी हैव टॉक्ड विद यू about what is a stimulus, what is a response. A connection between stimulus and response is referred as habit. और हमने ये देखा कि it was behaviorists basically, their work provided the ground floor where Dollard and Miller developed their stimulus response theory, which is focusing on habits. Now basically a habit refers to a good connection, a well-established connection between stimulus and response. और जनाब ये जो कनेक्शन जितना स्ट्रॉन्ग है और ये जितना करीब करीब इन सेंस ऑफ स्पेस एंड टाइम अकर करता है, योर हैबिट्स आर मोर सीमेंटेड. गुड हैबिट्स आर समथिंग विच फैसिलिटेट्स एडजस्टमेंट. इट इज द फॉल्टी हैबिट्स which we have to be aware about. And our next lecture will focus on all those things which are essential in stimulus response theory of personality. डिटेल में आपसे बात रहेगी, लेकिन ये देख लें कि आज हमने आपसे बहुत डिटेल में बात की about the structure of personality, dynamics of personality, और हमने ये देखा कि the habit is the key concept in the theory by Dollard and Miller, and habit refers basically to SR connection. And when learning has to take place, well, an individual should have a drive. This, he should respond to the drive with a cue, with a stimulus. तीसरी अहम चीज ये कि जो भी कनेक्शन है वो स्ट्रॉन्ग होना चाहिए और जो भी उसने सीखा है वो that behavior should be rewarded. So very important thing is drive should be there. Number 2, cue or stimulus should be there. Number 3, response should be taken into account. And number 4, whatever learning has taken place should be rewarded. So it is only then that SR connection would be stronger. It is only then that we can say learning has taken place. Dear students, I hope you have enjoyed listening to this lecture of stimulus response theory. Please go through the PowerPoint slides and the Word document that is available on the web page of Personality Psychology. Do write to us if you have a question. We will be glad to respond to your questions. Up till our next lecture, it is Khuda Hafiz from Virtual University Studio.